Everyone, and welcome back to Algo Explained. Today we're going to be going over Lab 2 of CS50. It's called Scrabble. The gist of it is basically in the game Scrabble there is a word, and each letter of that word has a number assigned to it. For example, the word hello has H, which means 4, E, which means 1, L, which means 1, L, which means 1 again, and then O, which means 1. So that's like a total of, I don't remember, but I don't remember all the values, but yeah, it's a total of something. So, for example, if we wanted to score the word code, we would note that in general Scrabble rules that C is worth 3 points, O is worth 1 point, D is worth 2 points, and E is worth 1 point. So summing these, we get 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals to 7. So our goal is to do this in Python. So in CS50, you're supposed to write it in C, but I don't want you guys to just copy the code. I want you guys to get the logic behind it and work from that. So we first need to have two players, right? The two players first need to give us an input. For example, if our first player gave us an input of code, we would have a would have an output of 7, and if our second player gave us an output of TUV. So that is 1, 1, 4, 6. So we want to compare player 1 and player 2 and see who has the most points depending off their word, and whoever has the most points wins. That is the gist of the lab. So let's get started. So let me close this. Here. Oh, okay. So I put the letters and then I put random values to these letters. Um, yeah, so let's get started. First, let's find the length of these letters, make sure that they're equal so that we don't get indexes out of range. And then letters. Okay, and then we want to print this. And then we want to also print the length of this points. Let's print it. Let's run this program. We should get 19, 19. Okay, there you go. Now, our first step should be to initialize a few variables. We should first initialize index, tally, and then what else should we initialize? Oh, and now we need an input from one of the users. First, I'm going to show you how to code it for one user, and then we will show you how to make I'll show you how to make the whole game. So our user input should be equal to a input, and then just put this. Okay, now let's first loop through the letters let's first loop through each letter in our letters, right? Each letter. So we want to go from A, B, C, D, E. So let's go for letter in letters. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to increase our index every single time. We want to increase our index every single time we go to a different letter in letters. So from 0, we're going to go to B, which is 1, C, 2, D, 3, E, 4. So like that. So index equals to index plus 1. Now, we want to loop through our input. We want to loop through each letter of our input. Now, I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. What happens when you make our user input into a list is, let's make it like this, list input equals to user input, and then creates to a list. Oh God, I haven't used my keyboard in like 3 days, that's why it's so rusty right now. Print list input. Okay, so now we run this. What we will get hopefully is, let's say, hey, we should get 3 individual letters. So each letter is a part of an element now. Each letter is an element in a list now, and we'll be able to loop through these. Okay, so let's get back to our code here. Oh God, what am I doing? Get rid of this, and then go into here. Okay, now we want to loop through. So for I in range, again we want to loop through our inputs. So we want to loop through our list. So we're turning our string input into a list so that we can loop through it, and then we want to actually loop through the length of the list. So now that we do that, we can find our actual index, which is just in no. Now that we've done this, we want to see, we're gonna actually do a linear search now. So a part of a linear search. Now we want to see if our input, if I of our, okay, it's kind of hard to explain, but if list input I, okay, so what this means is that I is currently looping through our list, right? So what we're saying is if list input, the index of list input, so let's say list input is hey, h is the index of 0, so I right now is 0. So if now what we're saying is if list input 0 equals to the letter that we're looping through, currently we're using two loops, right? So if this equals to letter, so while it's looping and it finds h, then what we want to do is we want to get a new variable called actual index, and then we want to subtract our index minus 1. So our index that we've been adding every single time we loop through another letter, we want to minus that by 1 because our actual index won't actually be 7. It'll be like 6. So let's say we're looking for C. It won't be 3. It'll actually be 2 since indexes start from 0. So it'd be 0, 1, 2 instead of 1, 2, 3. So that's why our actual index is index minus 1. Now we want to get the point. Now we want to take the actual index of our letters. So if it was H, then our actual index is like, let's say for example 7. Now we want to take that index and then put it into our points and find the point value of that. So now what we're going to do is equals to points equals to point. Oh, okay. Since we're already using that, we'll just use points index equals to points, and then we're going to put the index actual index. So now that we've done that, now what we're going to do, so let's just run through it manually for a second here. So user input, let's say it's hey, okay. So H, so our input is H. So the first letter of our input is H, right? We're turning hey into a list now. So it's H-E-Y. Now we're looping through our letters. So for letter in letters. So we're going currently 1, 2, 3. Since we're looking for H right now, we're gonna loop all the way through H and keep adding 1 to our index. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that might be wrong, but that doesn't matter. We're just manually looping through right now. So let's say our index equals to 8 right now. Now we're gonna loop through the range. We're gonna loop through the length of the list. So the length of our input is 3. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then if the list input 1 or 0 is equal to the letter H, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the actual index. We're gonna take the index that we keep adding here and subtract that by 1 and put it in the variable actual index. Now we take the points index and then we say that it's equal to the points. So we're saying that it's equal to our points right here and the actual index, which would be 7 in this case. So 0.7. So actual index would be 7. So our points index would be equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it'd be equal to 54. Or I don't know. But that's just like manual looping. We can also just print right now. To say print points index. So the reason we're doing the tally, so why is the tally here? So again, let's say our h is equal to 54. So tally right now is equal to 0. So don't look at the left side, look at the right side. Look at the right side of our tally equation. So tally right now is equal to 0, so that doesn't matter. But look at points index. Points index is currently equal to 54 because h has the value of 54 in the points list, right? Or I don't know what it has, but this we're just guessing right now because I don't remember. So now we want to add this to tally again. So now tally will be equal to 54 plus 0. So now our tally is equal to 54. Now what we want to do is we want to print our tally. Print tally. Now if we run this, we should actually get Hey, and we should get 88. So how do we check if this is correct? Well, I don't want to do all of this, right? So we're just gonna take the last three elements of the list, SRQ. So that is 254. So that should be equal to 7, 11. So it should be equal to 11 if we do SRQ. Run it again, SRQ, and it equals to 11. There you go. So now that we've done a single player, what do we do about two players? I mean, obviously I can just do this, copy and paste, and then do it and run it 2 times. But come on, we're programmers. We can't be lazy like that. So that's lazy code. What we're gonna do is actually we're gonna make another loop. So we want to loop through this twice. So for x in range, oh, oh, 2. Okay. Now we wanna indent everything. Okay. So my plan now is to take our tally and then put it into a new list. Put it into a new list called count. So we're actually going to make an empty list here called count. We're going to put tally into our count, and then we're going to compare the index 0 and 1. Since there's two players, 0 and 1. If index 0 is greater than index 1 in the list count, then player 1 wins. If it's vice versa, then player 2 wins. And if it's none of the above, then there's only one option, which means that it's tied, that it's a tie between both of them. So let's code that. So what we actually need to do is we need to put everything into our new loop. We need to put everything into our new loop. Every initialized variable we need to put into our new loop, except for, of course, count, because we want count to actually be iterated into. But all of these, once the first iteration of x is done, we want all of these to reset so that the second player can input his own word, right? So let's delete this from here. So now that that's happened, what we can do is we can do tally.append. Tally.append. Oh, no, sorry. Count.append, and then we want to append tally into it, and then we want to print our count. Okay, also we want to, just for kicks, we will print tally again, even though we don't need that. So let's do srq 11. So you can see how the tally 11 is appended into our new list 11. So right now, currently, count has 11 into it, and now we're going through the second range. We're going through the second time of the loop x. So put srq again, and we get 11, 11. So currently, it's not giving us player 1 wins, player 2 wins, player 3 wins, or no, sorry, I meant it's a tie, because we haven't actually compared them. So let's compare them. So if count 0 is greater than count 1, we want to actually print player 1 is the winner. Now, what if player 1 is not the winner? If player 2 is the winner, we want to do elif count 1. Oh wait, you can just do the same thing. 0, and then just flip the sign. Count 1. Player print. Player. Oh. Player 2 is the winner. Okay. Now else. This is the final thing that can happen. Like, out of all the situations, this is the final situation that can happen, in which case every value is the same, I guess. You know what I mean. The words have the same total point value. So we're just going to print it's a tie. Tie? Okay, now let's try it. So first we're going to print srq. Oh, list index is out of range. Huh. List index is out of range, I guess. actually confused here. Okay. Let's try a different word. Cab. No. Okay. Oh, okay. This is why it's happening. We need to actually indent this out so that it's not part of the same line of code. So let's try it now. Oh god, doesn't look nice at all. SRQ, nice, and then SRQ again. 1111, it's a tie. Okay, very nice. So the reason that was happening is because count currently, like, if it was in the same line of code, count never had a 1 because we so it went from count 0, right? And then we're comparing count 0 and 1 on the same line of code. So it's saying, wait, there's no 1 right now because because the first iteration of the loop, it's adding 11 for SRQ, but there's no second iteration of the loop because the second iteration hasn't happened. And we're just putting the code here. It's like it's in the same loop. It can't be in for x in range because we want it to be out of the loop. So that's why it was happening. But yeah, that's how you solve your. That's how you solve the problem. Lab 2 of Scrabble in Python. Please use the same logic in C to counter the problem. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you liked the video. Like the video if you liked the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. And goodbye.